Welcome to Impact History. Today we explore the rise of one of the most powerful dynasties in South Asia, the Mughal Empire. Founded in 1526 after the Battle of Panipat by Babur, this empire reshaped politics, culture, and economy for centuries. Let's look at how it began, how it governed, and why its legacy still matters. The year is 1526, a moment that would alter Indian history. The story begins decades earlier with Zahir-ud-Din Muhammad Babur, a prince with the lineage of Timur and Genghis Khan. Driven from his ancestral kingdom, he seized Kabul in 1504, establishing a new base. From this stronghold, his ambition turned eastward, towards the fabled wealth of Hindustan. At this time, India was not a unified power. The Delhi Sultanate, under the unpopular Ibrahim Lodi, was fracturing. The Sultan's cruelty alienated powerful nobles, and a faction invited Babur to help depose him. They saw Babur as a temporary weapon, but they were inviting a new master who had no intention of leaving. On April 21, 1526, on the plains of Panipat, the two forces met. Babur's small army of 15,000 faced Ibrahim Lodi's colossal force of over 100,000 men and 1,000 war elephants. The odds seemed impossible, but Babur was a brilliant strategist. He anchored his center with a defensive line of carts called Araba, providing a barrier for his secret weapon, field artillery. As Lodi's army charged, Babur's cannons unleashed fire and thunder. The noise and smoke, new to Indian warfare, terrified Lodi's war elephants, which turned and trampled their own troops. Simultaneously, Babur executed the Tulguma, a Mongol pincer movement attacking the flanks and rear. Caught between cannons and cavalry, Lodi's massive army was annihilated. By noon, Ibrahim Lodi lay dead. The victory was absolute. The victory at Panipat gave Babur control over Delhi and Agra, but his empire wasn't secure. The powerful Rajput confederacy, led by Rana Sanga, viewed Babur as a plunderer who would soon leave. They misjudged him. In 1527, at the Battle of Kanwa, Babur faced an even greater threat. Again, his superior tactics and artillery shattered the Rajput forces, securing his dynasty's future. Yet Babur was more than a conqueror. A refined poet and writer, he chronicled his life in his memoir, the Baburnama. He also brought a deep Persian cultural influence, introducing the Charbagh, a four-part paradise garden. This concept of ordered beauty would become a signature of his dynasty's architectural legacy. In just 4 years, Babur laid the foundation for a new dynasty. He established a military state, distributing lands to loyal followers. This initial framework, though raw, set the political and cultural patterns his successors, like his grandson Akbar, would refine. From this violent start, the stage was set for one of the world's most dazzling dynasties. Next, we explore how the Mughals organized and consolidated that power. Strong centralized authority. The emperor was supreme, with regional governors managing provinces. Governance relied on a court bureaucracy that reported directly to the monarch. Administrative reforms. Under Akbar, policies emphasized religious tolerance and merit-based appointments. He introduced the Mansabdari system, a graded bureaucracy and military structure for officials. Expansion. Successive emperors extended Mughal control across much of the subcontinent. From Akbar to Aurangzeb, the empire united diverse regions under central rule. These systems influenced later administrative frameworks, including those adapted by the British. Next, the social and cultural transformations the empire produced. The Mughal Empire wasn't just a political entity, it was a crucible of cultures. The ruling class, with its Turco-Mongol origins and Persianate courtly traditions, found itself governing a vast and diverse Indian subcontinent. This encounter sparked a remarkable process of cultural synthesis. The Mughals actively encouraged a fusion of Persian, Central Asian, and Indian traditions, creating a unique and vibrant social fabric that defined the era. This wasn't a passive blending, but a deliberate patronage of a new composite culture. This dynamic blend is most spectacularly visible in the art and architecture of the period. Take Mughal miniature painting. Early works, like the epic Hamzanama, combined the bold, vibrant color palette of Indian traditions with the fine, delicate brushwork and intricate details of Persian manuscript illustration. The result was a style that was entirely new, dynamic, expressive, and uniquely Mughal. In architecture, this synthesis is literally set in stone. While the Taj Mahal is the most famous example, the evolution began much earlier. Humayun's tomb in Delhi, with its grand Persian-style dome and Charbagh garden, laid the groundwork. Later at Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar masterfully blended Indian architectural elements like carved brackets and khatris with the grand arches and geometric patterns of Islamic design. This fusion created a visual language of power and harmony. Perhaps the most ambitious social experiment was in religious policy, spearheaded by Emperor Akbar. His principle of Sulh-i-Kul, or universal peace, was a groundbreaking concept for its time. It wasn't merely tolerance, but a proactive effort to foster understanding among the empire's diverse religious communities. In his famous Ibadat Khana, or house of worship, he invited theologians and scholars from various faiths to engage in open debate. This led to the abolition of the jizya, a tax on non-Muslims, and promoted a climate of relative social harmony. However, this policy was not static. Later emperors, most notably Aurangzeb, reversed some of these inclusive measures. Driven by a mix of personal piety and political pressures, his stricter adherence to Islamic law altered communal dynamics, creating tensions that would have long-lasting consequences. This cultural dynamism fueled the growth of magnificent urban centers. Cities like Delhi, Agra, and Lahore swelled into sprawling metropolises, becoming vibrant hubs of trade, culture, and learning. Life in these cities was a sensory tapestry. Bustling bazaars were filled with merchants from across the known world. The air was rich with the aromas of new culinary fusions, as Persian pilafs met Indian spices to create the biryani. The streets were a fashion show of blended styles, where Central Asian tunics were adapted into garments like the sherwani. Imperial patronage extended beyond art and architecture, fostering a rich intellectual legacy. The establishment of libraries and madrasas supported scholarship in fields ranging from poetry to science. Mughal astronomers made precise observations of the cosmos, while metallurgists perfected high-quality steel. This environment nurtured a cosmopolitan society where ideas, goods, and people moved freely. The cultural fusion they championed was not just a relic of the past, it became deeply woven into the fabric of South Asia. Its echoes persist today in our language, music, art, and cuisine, a testament to the empire's enduring social impact. But how did the Mughals finance such grand architectural projects, patronize the arts so lavishly, and manage such a complex, sprawling society? The answer lies in their powerful and sophisticated economy. Now let's explore how the Mughal economy supported this incredible social and cultural world. Agriculture was the foundation. Land revenue reforms under Akbar boosted productivity and supported growth. A systematic revenue system provided stability for population and urban prosperity. Trade and wealth. India became one of the world's largest economies, exporting textiles, spices, and luxury goods. Markets linked the subcontinent to Europe and Asia through flourishing maritime and overland trade. Infrastructure, roads, caravanserais, and ports facilitated internal and international commerce. Investment in public works supported both trade and urban life. The monetized, diversified economy enabled Mughal cultural and political projects. Next, long-term impacts across South Asia. The Mughals left iconic monuments, the Taj Mahal, the Red Fort, symbols of architectural brilliance. These monuments shaped urban identity and cultural memory. Their centralized administration provided models later adapted by colonial governments. Some administrative structures persisted into modern governance. Socially, the empire's policies shaped communal relations and cultural synthesis that endure today. Museums, literature, and performing arts continue to celebrate this inheritance. The Mughal era left complex legacies: artistic greatness, administrative models, and social change. Let's consider 5 what-if scenarios to spark discussion. History is often seen as a fixed line of events. But what if we could explore the roads not taken? Asking what if is a powerful tool. It helps us understand the pivotal moments and choices that shaped our world. It reveals how fragile the present really is, and how different things could have been. Let's step into the realm of alternate possibilities and explore 5 fascinating scenarios that could have completely changed the destiny of the Mughal Empire. Let's begin at the very foundation. 1. What if Babur had lost the Battle of Panipat in 1526? His invading force was vastly outnumbered, and his victory hinged on superior technology and tactics. If chance had favored the Delhi Sultan Ibrahim Lodi, the Mughal Empire would have been stillborn. The Delhi Sultanate might have seen a resurgence, continuing the dominance of Afghan dynasties, or perhaps the powerful Rajput Confederacy would have seized the opportunity to become the premier power in North India. Without the Mughals, the subcontinent's political and cultural trajectory would be unrecognizable. The art, architecture, and administration they pioneered would simply not exist. Now let's jump to the empire's golden age. 2. What if Emperor Akbar's policy of religious tolerance had been permanently adopted by his successors? Akbar championed sul-i-kul, or peace with all, abolishing the discriminatory jizya tax and fostering interfaith dialogue. But later rulers, notably Aurangzeb, reversed these inclusive policies. If Akbar's vision had endured, could it have forged a unified syncretic culture, making the subcontinent less susceptible to the divide and rule tactics of colonial powers? Imagine a society where centuries of peaceful coexistence became the bedrock of a shared identity, creating a state far more resilient and internally cohesive. Let's consider the reign of the last great Mughal. 3. What if Aurangzeb had focused less on military expansion and more on consolidation? His nearly 50-year reign was consumed by costly wars, especially the draining Deccan campaign against the Marathas. This conflict bled the treasury dry and fueled widespread unrest. But what if he had chosen peace, administrative reform, and economic investment instead? By strengthening the bureaucracy and building infrastructure, he could have solidified the empire's foundations. A stable, prosperous Mughal state could have managed internal dissent and negotiated with European powers from a position of strength, not desperation, potentially halting the empire's decline. Now for a technological what-if. 4. What if the Mughal economy had industrialized? In the 17th century, Mughal India was an economic titan, commanding a quarter of the world's GDP. But it was a pre-industrial economy. What if Mughal elites had spurred a homegrown industrial revolution, adopting steam power and mass production? Imagine state-backed factories producing modern textiles and steel. Instead of becoming a source of raw materials for Britain, an industrialized India could have become its chief economic rival. This economic transformation would have altered the global balance of power, making the subcontinent a formidable force and perhaps impossible to colonize. Finally, our most ambitious question. 5. What if the empire had survived into the modern era? If the Mughals had consolidated power, fostered social harmony, and industrialized, what would South Asia look like today? It's possible the subcontinent would have remained a single political entity, perhaps evolving into a federal empire or a constitutional monarchy. The very nations of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, born from the trauma of partition, might never have existed. How would this vast multicultural state have navigated the complexities of the 21st century? This scenario challenges our fundamental understanding of modern South Asian identity, replacing it with a vision of a powerful, united civilization. These questions are more than historical fantasies. They are exercises in critical thinking. We've only explored 5 possibilities. What other turning points can you imagine? Perhaps what if Dara Shikoh had succeeded Shah Jahan instead of Aurangzeb? Drop your thoughts and detailed scenarios in the comments. For educators and students, these prompts are perfect for classroom debates. Pick one, explore the evidence, and build your own alternate history. Which what-if would you teach first? Let's start the discussion. Thank you for watching Impact History. Please like and subscribe for more content. If you enjoyed this, leave a comment about what topics you'd like us to cover next. Sources and further reading are in the description. See you next time on Impact History.